Hey, it's Robbie again. I haven't posted a video in a while. I have a Can-Am 570 for my son. I have a Sportsman 1000 for myself. And I just got this 850 Sportsman. And there's my buddy Sammy. And just got it yesterday. So I did a couple upgrades on it. I thought I'd share. Mostly lights. I have some heated hand grips and thumb warmers coming. And then I got to mount my GPS stuff. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm starting to wind down. Everything's not wired yet, but I'll show you a wiring diagram, what I'm doing and what I like to do. But on this, what I'm doing is I'll end up putting two relays up here. It's where the factory high beam is. Right now I have it out. I will tape this off with black tape, and I will tape the connector off with black tape. Because with a high beam and a light bar, they'll reflect. It'll drive you nuts at night. So I usually just disconnect the highs, which they don't throw out that much light anyway. Let the LED light bars take over. What I did different on this one is, compared to my 1000, I'm going to use two relays on it, but just so you can get an idea how I hooked it up. I have the basket out right now, but when the basket's in here, the seal to keep water out of the basket area is this ridge here all the way around. So what I did on my outer ones, which are for when you're doing switchbacks and things of that way at night, I'm going to run my wires down through here and down this way. And I did this on my other bike. I'll put 3 disconnects here, or 2 quick disconnects. That way I can take this off in 2 seconds and then keep it below the body. So if I have to take the body off, I'm not messing with the wiring. My main light bar is down here and bolt it down there. And I'll have this wired back in. The main one, off the high beam, I will put a relay, and on the relay, the feed to the relay will be a fuse, 30 amp fuse from the battery coming up, going through the relay, coming back out off a high beam, and it'll feed this one. And then I'll also tap into that same feed when the high beam's on, and I'll send that up to a light switch I'm going to put up on the back side of the dash here. I'll put it right here. And when I flip that switch on, which is being fed by when the high beam relay is turned on, my outer ones will come on. That way when I go from high beam to low beam, all 3 of these will shut off. So I'm only dealing with the factory switching. I'm only dealing with high beam, low beam. So by default, high beam will be my center light. If I throw my dip switch here, or I'll put it down here actually, the 2 outside ones will come on when I have my high beams on. When I go to low, they'll all come off. I'm not putting any load on the wiring, the factory wiring. All I'm doing is putting a relay where the factory headlight high beam was, and I'm going to feed the source of the power that feeds all this is going to come off of my own 30 amp fuse off the battery itself. And to show you what that looks like wiring diagram, that's the wiring diagram. And the key points here is, that's my ignition key. That's the factory fuse box. There's the high beam switch that triggers a relay. That relay is getting power from a dedicated 30 amp fuse that I'll put in place. And that triggers out, hits the high beam LED bar. And I also tie into that and put the switch on the dash that feeds the side lights. And then also coming off that 30 amp, I feed another relay. And this relay is going to work off the key. When the key is on, the auxiliary feed is going to trigger this relay. So this 30 amp fuse is going to come up through and now get down, and it's going to feed some accessories, and I'll show you what they are. One's a 12 volt outlet, one's a USB charger, and the other's a heated hand grips and thumb warmers, which I don't have installed yet, but I will. So factory, I don't know why they do this. They only put 12 volt outlet, and now in the newer ones they're putting a trickle charge plug, but they don't put a USB charger. And I have a GPS tablet thing that I made that'll sit up here. It actually sits up about yay high. I have a pretty big tablet, and I run Oryx maps and Bob T's maps and all that things on it when I'm riding. So what I did on the new Polaris is, the main box is a little wider. I punched a hole out here and I punched one on the other side. So on this side, I put a 12 volt outlet, an additional one that goes to the 30 amp fuse, doesn't touch the factory wiring. and that's in conjunction with the factory one. So I have 2 of them. And then on the other side, I'm putting this USB 3-port. It's a 3.0 for the blue, and it's 2.1 ports below. And that usually will feed my tablet and keep it charged. And also I can daisy chain a wire down this, charge up my phone or whatever I want to do at that point, which makes it real handy. On the Polaris, I use Demon hand warmers and thumb controls. You get them for about 90 bucks. They're the best in the industry. They actually make the factory ones for Can-Am. But they have a thumb warmer, and then the controller will sit right here. It's a little different in my 2017 1000. I was able to use this tab to put the bracket. I actually am going to Velcro that on here. We did this with my buddies, and it worked great. The only other additives for right now is I used the Polaris box, which I had on my 1000. That's probably the best box I've ever had. It's laid out really well. It mounts the factory mounting things that they give you that you clamp down. You put down inside the holes like this, and then you clamp them, and it makes them expand. They're a joke. We ride trails, it'll come off. So what I do is I use the 2 factory ones, one here and one here, and what that does, it keeps its stability from moving left to right or forward and backwards. And then I drill a hole here and bolt all the way through from underneath, and I do the same thing over here. And then up front, I do the same thing. I mark where my factory holes is for one of those plungers, and I drill that out. And then I took a fairly good sized washer, and I welded a nut to it, and I flip it upside down, and I shove it through here, use a screwdriver, push up on it, drop the bolt down from inside, and clamp it down. This thing will never come off. Easy to get on, easy to get off. Takes me about 5 minutes to get it off. Takes me about 10 minutes to put it back on. I don't take it off. I mean, I don't know why Polaris puts their storage box under the top, which is stupid. On the older 850s, they used to have it back here. And this would be awesome if we had storage here. But anyway, I think that's enough intel. My handy helpers here. And appreciate it. If you guys like it, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll be watching for comments if anybody has questions. Thanks.